2023 hedefleri var. Göreve geldiğimizde dünyada büyüyen ekonomiler arasında 26. sıradayken şimdi 17. sıradayız. Hedefimiz 2023 yılında Türkiye'yi dünyanın en büyük 10 ekonomisi arasına sokabilmek. Buna yönelik çalışmalarımızı gayretle devam ettiriyoruz. Ve bunu da başaracağımıza özellikle inanıyoruz. Ve bu konuda azmimiz, gayretimiz tüm STK'larla birlikte, tabii şunu söyleyeyim, devletçi bir anlayıştan özel sektöre geçen bir anlayışla bu performansı yaptık. Özelleştirmede çok ciddi başarılar elde ettik. Bu ciddi başarılar ülkemizdeki bütün özel teşebbüsleri rahatlattı. Ve onların önündeki bütün engelleri kaldırmak suretiyle onları bu teşebbüslerinde çok daha rahat bıraktık. Teşvik ettik. Ve teşvik uygulamalarıyla da özel teşebbüs bu noktada çok daha farklı bir performans ortaya koydu ve verimlilik arttı. Ama önemli bir şey söyleyeceğim. Türkiye israf ekonomisinden verim ekonomisine geçti. İsraf ekonomisi bizi eritiyordu ama şimdi verim ekonomisiyle birlikte de artık ülkemiz gelişmeye başladı. Her geçen gün daha iyiye doğru gidiyoruz. Teşekkür ederim.
Right. I would now like to invite to the podium Mr. Shah Zukang. Mr. Zukang is UN Under-Secretary for Economic and Social Affairs, who is also the Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, otherwise known as Rio+20. Mr. Shah Zukang will deliver a message from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, and after he's spoken, the rest of the discussions will be from the seats. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Excellency President, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, I'm honored to extend our warm congratulations on the convening of the 2012 Astana Economic Forum. We would like to thank the organizers for setting up an enriching program featuring a number of critical social and economic issues facing policymakers today. These issues are at the core of the agenda of the United Nations. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon sends his warmest greetings to the forum participants. I'm very pleased to read his message to you. I quote, "Over the past 5 years, the Astana Economic Forum has become an important gathering for discussing key economic issues and practical steps to enhance and expand international cooperation. Bringing together global participants from government, academia, business, and culture, the forum offers opportunity for constructive dialogue among major groups working on economic development. This is a time of great challenge and transition. Our world faces an increasingly complex set of realities, from rising joblessness to growing inequality to the increasing dangers of climate change. Many people are disillusioned with the established order. There is distrust in institutions and a general sense that the playing field is tilted in favor of entrenched interests and aides. we need to forge a common agenda that can help build a world of sustainable peace, prosperity, freedom, and justice. The international community has a vital opportunity next month when leaders gather in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. Meeting the demands ahead will require all our creativity and commitment. By the year 2030, the world will need at least 50% more food, 45% more energy, 30% more water, and maybe millions more decent jobs. These and other challenges are linked. We need to start connecting the dots in our policies and our programs. Quite simply, we need a revolution.
Catering to egoism is at odds with demands of justice and with the protection of the global common goods. It's at odds with the heritage of mankind as well as with its thrifty future. And it is at odds with basic principles of all world religions and most of the great philosophical systems of mankind. That is why I am convinced that the current state of affairs on the financial and economic markets will, in the long run, not be accepted in the different regions and countries. It needs to come in line with basic religious and cultural demands common to all nations and to all men and women of goodwill. The markets need a strong and trustworthy ethical framework, and it must be obvious to the public that this framework is being respected and heeded by all players or enforced against them. Therefore, a proper definition of that basic ethical framework is of the utmost importance. Unfortunately, this work is in progress. One of the first to tackle it was the Swiss theologian and philosopher Hans Küng. The revolutionary political changes of 1990 made him search for ways to foster peace between cultures and religions on the basis of principles familiar to and respected by all of them. Meanwhile, Professor Küng's work towards the global ethic has found attention and consent from all over the world. One early milestone was the declaration toward the global ethic agreed upon by a parliament of the world's religions in Chicago in 1993. This declaration identified two basic principles which underlie all ethical values and standards: humanity and reciprocity. Humanity and reciprocity. First, the principle of humanity. When it is applied, it changes the atmosphere in any office, factory, or business. Every human being, man or woman, white or colored, rich or poor, young or old, must be treated humanely and not inhumanely. Second, the principle of reciprocity, or the golden rule. It can be found already in the Analects of Confucius, but also in the biblical, Islamic, and other traditions. And I quote, "What you do not wish done to yourself, do not do to others." That's the golden rule. Based on these two fundamental principles, there are four basic values and standards one can find already in the writings of Patanjali, the founder of yoga, but also in the Buddhist canon and in all major religious and also in non-religious traditions. Non-violence and respect for life, solidarity and a fair economic order, truthfulness and tolerance, equality and partnership. Various international conferences and initiatives have since stressed the necessity for global ethical standards. There was, for example, the International Commission on Global Governance, 1995, which emphasized the importance of human rights, followed by the World Commission on Culture and Development, which demanded, over and above the promotion of economic growth, an investment into human development. There was the proposal by the Interaction Council of former heads of state and government for a universal declaration of human responsibilities, 1997. There was the United Nations Global Compact, initiated by Kofi Annan in 1999, which sets guidelines for corporate conduct in a globalized economy. It was also Kofi Annan who initiated the report Crossing the Divide, which deals with a dialogue of cultures. Finally, there was the Manifesto Global Economic Ethics, drafted by the Global Ethics Foundation in 2009. All of this work expresses the same simple truth. A global age requires a global ethic. A global age requires a global ethic. We need more than a strong public international law and strong international institutions. We need a fundament of ethical values, standards, and attitudes that can be shared by all people, whether they be religious or not. Therefore, the whole project is not about a new artificial religion. It is not even a religious project we are talking about, but rather an ethical and educational one, a global ethic that shall not replace, but reinforce the common good of world religions and world politics. Philosophy and economics, anthropology and even politics and the legal sciences all tell us that human beings need ethical standards, that even the best laws and the most resourceful police will never suffice to uphold an order of freedom if a society is not held together by ethical attitudes and ethical behavior. Religion tells us the same, but with a voice mankind has heard and heeded from its beginning. Now, many a hard-boiled practitioner of international politics and worldwide business may think by himself, this may all be nice and good. And yes, we have heard similar messages often before. But isn't such a global ethic some kind of wishful thinking? Something not quite of this world? Unto these hard-boiled, I say, first and foremost, it is the strength of the global ethic that its message and instruction seem unmoved since millennia past. It is often trespassed against, that is true, but it proves the strength of this ethic, that it has nevertheless never been undermined nor washed away, that it has neither been repressed nor forgotten, today as always. Those who violate global ethical standards know they are guilty and feel guilty. And secondly, these breaches are all the more visible even if, or perhaps even just because, this global ethic is so generally worded and so universally understandable. Its ethical demands are easily made concrete and substantiated. Just study the already mentioned Manifesto Global Economic Ethics drafted by the Global Ethics Foundation in 2009. It demands that all who bear responsibility in our economies, politicians and workers, consumers and entrepreneurs, respect human dignity, root out slave labor, respect international working standards, protect the environment, and treat their business partners fairly. It is, of course, legitimate to further one's own interests, but one must not seek personal advantage by unethical means. The manifesto calls for a sustainable use of natural resources and urges us to respect and protect all elementary conditions of life. It outlaws corruption and demands to put an end to world hunger, illiteracy, and unequal chances of education and well-being, all of which could be overcome through institutions of education and social security. The manifesto emphasizes that all people should have the right to form coalitions of interest, for example, trade unions, in order to maintain their rights in a responsible way. In short, the manifesto abounds in concrete individual and institutional demands